You are listening to the Real Estate Growth Hackers Show.
Hello and welcome to Real Estate Growth Hackers Live. My name is Zach Hammer. In this episode, I have Kevin KAUFFMAN. Kevin is the co-founder of Group 4610, which was founded in 2008 out of Keller Williams Realty Phoenix with his business partner, Fred Weaver. Since then, Group 4610 has expanded to markets across the country, including Denver, Nashville, Las Vegas, that's where I am, Tucson, Colorado Springs, Fort Collins, Southern California, the California Central Coast, and Minneapolis. Group 4610 plans to explode this expansion even further with a goal of having 1,000 affiliated agents nationwide. Pretty cool, powerful goal there. Kevin focuses on moving past hangups that would otherwise keep him from reaching his business goals and makes no clear distinction between work life and personal life, and instead making sure to integrate all of his beliefs and values into every action he takes day to day. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Kevin in. I'm going to click the button here, and 3, 2, 1, he should be coming in. Kevin, go ahead and say hi. Welcome to the...
Hey, what's up? Looks like it worked. We have audio, we have video.
we have you in, and we can hear each other. I can hear you. Hopefully everybody else can hear. If you guys can hear us loud and clear, in the comments below, please go ahead and drop a comment just saying, hey, say hi to Kevin, say hi to me, say hi to whoever, but comment.
You like comments, no doubt about that.
Exactly.
More fun interactive.
So again, guys, as we're getting started, feel free. This is part of what's great about these Facebook Lives is that we are able to interact. So Kevin, I've got you on live right now. We've also, I'm sure a lot of people are going to be watching all of this as a replay as well. So as you're watching, interact. We would love to interact with you and make this more of a conversation than just Kevin and I talking out to the dark void that is Facebook.
Yeah, but, I mean, let's say you and I both know how to talk, so we could go for a while. But it's a lot more fun if someone else wants to interact, right?
Exactly. So Kevin, welcome back to the show. We tried to do this it's been a while now. I think it was like 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, 3-4 weeks ago, something like I totally screwed it up. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. It was it's exciting to be able to have you on. Period. So I appreciate you coming on and chatting with us and this community. But
yeah, no problem. Happy to do it.
So tell us a little bit. You've been up to some cool things in the past couple of weeks. Tell us a little bit about that. I know Group 4610 just had a really cool event. What was that all about?
Yeah, so great question. So as you know, one of the reasons why we had to push out this one so far was we had our annual Think Bigger conference, and by annual I mean our second annual. But so it's essentially our version of an annual sales conference, if you will, for our company.
Right.
Pretty much exclusive just to the Group 4610 network agents around the country.
Right.
So we come in to Arizona, 2 days, 2 jam-packed days, couple speakers, couple real estate speakers, couple non-real estate speakers just come in, and literally it's just going to it's like going to a big event, except right. There's like 55, maybe 60 of us total. My good buddy, a couple good friends came in and spoke. My buddy Dustin Runyon, who you got to get on the show, man.
Dustin Runyon, okay.
Dustin runs a real estate office. Him and his mom also own a giant property management company.
Right.
And more importantly, Dustin's maybe the best live speaker I've seen in my life. And I've been to Tony Robbins and you name it. And so we did that. We also had another great guy who is, I call him like an NLP ninja. His name is Michael Burnoff, a good friend of mine here. He's local in Arizona, and he just rocked it. We had Wendy Shaw, who's run her, and Russell Shaw, who you can find quoted 1 million times in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book here in Arizona, and a bunch of breakout sessions from some of our top agents with our own company. So it's kind of like, I hate to steal the word, but like family reunion, if you will, but just for Group 4610 agents. It was awesome.
Yeah, and that sounds super important too. I don't know, how many people watching right now have like these expansion teams, these more distributed companies, teams, networks that they're building out. But especially when you're trying to create like a culture within your own organization, getting together is super important. So
yeah, that's the word right there. So one of the questions we get a lot from some folks that are building expansion teams are, how do you keep the culture, right? It's easy when you're all in like one little box. Well, even that's not easy, but it's a lot less challenging.
Right.
And one of the things we found is we've got to do stuff, not just like this, where it's like, over online, over the air, but we got to do stuff in person too. So we have 2 really big events a year. One of them is our Think Bigger event. Another one's called our Mastermind event. We just modeled KW because that's kind of what we know. It's the company we grew up in. And so we have a Mastermind event that's more like a day. And then this event, which is really like 2+ days. So cool stuff, man. Yeah, it definitely helps a lot with the culture and the continuity of the. Now we're 95 agents around the country.
Wow.
Not easy to keep that together.
Yeah, absolutely. As that's one of the things that I've learned and heard from a lot of people is that kind of as these businesses go through different levels, especially of like employees, or in this case, agents, partners, that kind of idea. As you go through these different steps, it's like there's these levels where you kind of have to break through different challenges as you get bigger. And one of the biggest ones is as you get into that, like that 100 employee mark or 100 person mark, it's a challenging one.
Yeah, no doubt. It's a challenge, but it's fun. It's never been this fun before. It's never been this many headaches either. But it's a good time for sure.
Cool. Awesome. So let's step back a little bit. For anybody watching, I kind of want to make sure that everyone's starting from the same page, get a little bit of an idea of your backstory. Why'd you get into real estate? Maybe why'd you start Group 4610? Just a real quick idea of what brings you to today, so that people sort of understand where you come from on this stuff. How's that sound?
Yeah, that's cool. So it's funny because I don't think about this a lot, but I just was interviewed for something, and so I specifically was asked about why I got into real estate,
right.
etc. And the reality is I was searching for something I didn't know. I worked for GE Capital,
okay,
the other finance company I worked for, and I was going to school. I was going back to college. I was going to go to college this time and finish it up. And I didn't know anything. I just knew that I wanted to work for myself. I felt like an entrepreneur, although I didn't really know that word, what it meant at the time. But I was searching for something, and then I met this guy, this professor who's very clearly a businessman who just happened to be in a couple classes every semester. And one day he came in and he blew my mind, quite honestly. He started talking about money and real estate. And I just remember like thinking, oh my God, this is it. It's real estate. And I didn't know what it was going to look like. I just knew it was real estate. And so I basically begged him to spend some time with me, got him to go to breakfast, got him to explain to me like his whole life. If you've ever read Rich Dad Poor Dad, that was his life, right? Real estate and other cash flow businesses he owned, he just owned plenty of them. And that's where he had accumulated his wealth. And he made such an impact on me that basically, I think it was the next 2 years in a row, 4 semesters, I want to say. If he was teaching a class, I was taking it.
Nice.
Didn't matter to me. The cool thing was he was actually teaching curriculum based on the Rich Dad Poor Dad books, like Cash Flow Quadrant, ABCs of real estate investing, stuff like that, because they were accredited through the school and through the college system here, as well as through the Rich Dad company. And so if he taught the class, I took it and spent as much time around him as I could. So then it was finally about the end of 06, beginning of 07. It was April of 07. Basically, I got to a point where I was like, I got to quit my job. This is stupid. I can't do it. But I just got engaged and I had this really steady job, that paid pretty good. I wasn't ever going to get rich on it, but I was making $60,000 a year. And, when you grew up with your parents making 35 and 40 a year, 60 feels like a lot when you're a kid. And so, but I gave it all up. My now wife, really encouraged me to follow that, whatever it was. And so I did. I got into real estate, and sure enough, like it's 2007 and you're in Vegas, so you know exactly what 2007 was like.
Right.
The market was falling apart, and I said, I don't care. I'm going to go after it. And I did.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And then so then you get into real estate. You kind of start off there. What is the impetus of actually forming and creating Group 4610?
Yeah, so what's funny is Fred. I always joke and say Fred tricked me into helping him with a couple of short sales in '07.
Right.
I don't know what they were. Quite frankly, he had done some like as an investor outside of real estate, and he wasn't real sure how to do them as a real estate agent either. But he was kind of getting back into real estate at the time, and had a bunch of people around him who had properties underwater. And so he took a bunch of listings in the summer of '07, and essentially he was going on his honeymoon, and he roped me into helping him. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, we'll give it a shot, right? I can literally remember him saying to me, I don't even know if we can get paid to do these things.
Right.
He's like, I don't know who will pay us because the seller's broke. And I thought, well, I don't know, we'll figure it out. So anyways, fast forward, we closed a couple of those short sales. And then a few months later, we both happened to be doing short sales separately. We're both working from home, not fun. When you're calling the banks and stuff like that, we actually both happen to be employing his brother kind of on a part-time status to do all the stuff we didn't want to do, like basically administrative work and stuff going to like the property for listings and stuff like that, doing measurements and MLS input and stuff. So one day we decided, what would it be like if we just sat together in the same office? Funny, we sit together in the same office today too. We can't really tell because we're in the process of moving.
Right.
And so we decided what would it be like if we sat in the same office, helped each other out with our short sale files, incentivize each other a little bit on the short sale files, but then we'll share the expense of a full-time employee.
Right.
What happens. And so basically February 1st, February 2nd, 2008, we moved in together into the same office, rented the office next door as well, put his brother in there in a desk, and we told him we would try to pay him within 30 days, but there was no promise. And we kind of went to town. I think we had about 10 or 12 listings between the two of us.
Right.
We just kind of went at it. That was it. Like that was the start of Group 4610. And then within a month, I realized that nobody. Well, it's not just me. We both realized that nobody knew what the hell they were talking about on the short sales. And I can remember going to a class and at my market center, and the CE instructor said, and the classroom's full. This classroom, this training room sat about 35 people comfortably. There's probably 55 people in the room.
Right.
And class was on short sales. And the first thing the instructor said was, don't do short sales. They're bad for your business. You got to be joking me. So for the next 3 hours, because it was a credit hour class, right, I'm the guy that raised his hand about every 7 to 10 minutes and said, well, that's not actually how it works. And I probably raised my hand 15, 20 times and disputed something he said based on my own experience. And right then, I remember going back to the office I told Fred, I said, the education out there sucks. We gotta go tell people what the real truth is, what the story is. And so we started teaching short sale classes, and that was kind of the beginning of Group 4610.
Nice. Well, that's cool. So part of what I love about that is I'm a very firm believer of, I think there are probably a handful of people that get successful, by being slimy and doing things that are just horrible. They're like a handful, but most people, like the consistent way that you actually get to some level of success is by figuring out how to help people and by figuring out how to like give back and give value and raise up other people. And through that process, it tends to bring you along with it. So it's cool to see that kind of the starting of really growing that is essentially that desire to take what you've already learned and give that back to the real estate community. Yeah,
it's funny. That helped our business grow a ton. And, there was a couple lucky things that we did. We thought we were just being smart at the time. And looking back, they were also just extremely lucky, which was we weren't chasing REO accounts because both of us had worked for banks before and we were never going back to that. We just were never going to be bank employees again.
Right.
Was how we termed it. And we wanted a real life customer. We felt like, at a minimum, we're putting a real life person into our database who we've helped, and that'll come back to us in the future. And luckily it did start paying off at the right time because we went through some tough times later on. At any rate, And so, yeah, and then we started giving stuff away, right? We literally started teaching agents in Phoenix what we were doing. We started teaching a class basically every other week. And that, like the first class, there's like 2 people that showed up.
Right.
There was like 4 people. Then it was like 10. And then it was like 20. And like by the end of that year, there was 50 to 100 people showing up every other Friday to a different market center inside Phoenix, where they'd come hear us teach. And we'd literally teach our entire short sale process in like a 3-hour time frame, beginning to end, everything we knew about it.
Nice.
It was great. It led to a ton of referrals. It opened up a ton of doors. Some of my greatest relationships I have came from that time. Shoot, a lot of the people that I'm in business with today, I met during that time frame because we were out teaching.
That's fantastic. I think honestly, I think it's a strategy that a lot of people miss out on. A lot of people don't do. They actually don't put themselves out there, teach, try and add value and really do that. And now, especially when you have something of value to say, right? Like there are a lot of people who try and teach and have nothing to say, no value to actually offer. That's not going to get you anywhere, or it might, but it's wasted most people's time. But
exactly.
But what do you think? What do you think are some good opportunities for people to learn from that concept, to learn from essentially growing their business via teaching, via that sort of network? Where do you see opportunities there?
It's funny because we've always talked about this. I can remember we finally got around to selling some information and some products a couple years later. Right. And the first product, one of the things that we did was we sold the product on how to generate leads,
right.
Specific short sale leads. And one of the methods, which everybody had watched us do, I just don't think anybody took note of it, was go teach everybody else how to do it. Because
right.
as you well know, if you put 100 realtors in a room, and you can teach them everything
right.
3 of them are going to take action on it, and 10 of them are going to think you're an idiot or arrogant or whatever. And then right. in the middle, everyone else is just appreciative of your time, and some of them might have been entertained, some of them wouldn't have, some of them will send you referrals, some of them won't. But right. the reality is start opening up opportunities for referrals and different relationships. And then the other thing is that it really does, that I think people miss on, is it really keeps you sharp. And for Fred right. and I, always a way for us, we came up with so many good ideas. We'd be like, oh, we're not doing that. We need to do this. And so right. I don't care what it is, whether you're teaching how to dominate the internet, teaching a class on how to dominate Facebook or social media or whatever, when you start teaching and give it away, you'd be surprised at how much comes back to you.
Right.
It's crazy. And I just don't think enough people in our industry. I know there's a lot of teachers and there's a lot of people selling shit and gurus and stuff like that. But there's not enough people who are actually giving stuff away, like real live content. You and I were Facebook messaging, a week or 2 ago about
right.
different mistakes and everything like that. And, the reality is one of the things we talk about is everyone holds everything so damn tight.
Right.
And so when they have something good, they don't share it with everybody else. And I think it actually hurts them, not helps them.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Part of what for me has really made this show concept work in the limited amount of distribution I've done with it even so far is that I've always I've realized when you have these different sort of formats for how you deliver content, there is like a necessary limitation, even if I don't hold anything back, right? Like there's only so much that you can cover, just you and I talking. We could go through and lay out step by step the exact plan to do X, Y, Z, and people are still going to miss parts. They're still going to want more. They're going to want it, in a video format where they could pause and replay and then like slides to go back through. And that desire for more, that desire to take it further is a great way where you can actually make money by just selling the same content, but in maybe an easier to use format. But yeah, there's so much potential there, but like it's almost never that like you need to hold back the secrets. Like that's almost never the answer.
Never. Yeah. Never.
It's so interesting just to see how many people try that. And and guys, hop into the comments and let us know if you sort of feel this way too, if you've seen this kind of stuff happen as well. But my perception of the people that, especially on something like this, where they're like, I'm not going to talk about that. You'll have to buy my course in order to hear this. Like for the most part, when I hear that stuff, I'm like, yeah, all right, not buying your course ever. Like, show me why it's valuable. Like, there's so many people who want to hide behind, a paywall before they'll even deliver value, and you don't care. You don't care enough to even do anything with them. Yeah. Yep. But that's super cool. I think when it comes to teaching, especially, I think one of the things that holds people back, you let me know if you agree too. I think a lot of people have a certain level of an imposter syndrome too, right? Where they don't know the value that they have that they could bring, so they don't want to put themselves out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah, there's a lot of that. Like, and I mean, I'm not saying I've never felt it myself, but like, you think like maybe it's like, man, if I speak out loud or if I speak in person, maybe they're going to find out I'm not really as smart as I might look right now.
Right.
or like, hey, I'm not comfortable speaking in public. I don't feel comfortable doing it. I might look bad, blah, 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 blah. Right. There's a million reasons why. And, it's, I kind of don't know where I was going with that thought, but yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah. It's been one of those things. I think the biggest thing that I've been able to map it to as like where people are with it is we all tend to be fairly conscious of like the people that we look up to and the people that maybe have better results than us or have gotten further or know more. And we always compare. So like one of the things that's helped me, and anybody listening, hopefully this could be helpful for you too. I always like to approach teaching from the standpoint of I'm going to teach, what I know, what I've learned. And I'm not expecting that it's going to be relevant to everybody. If there's somebody listening who's more successful than me, they may not learn anything from what I'm talking about. That's okay. My audience is the people who are maybe a few steps behind me, and I can teach at least what I've learned up to this point. Right. And coming at it from that standpoint, you don't have to present yourself as the expert, as the guru. You can present yourself as somebody who's a few steps down the path and still be very authentic and be able to convey the value that you have very realistically.
It's funny. Like one of the things I always joke about, Fred and I always joke about when we teach, and it's true, is like, hey, they're only letting me teach the class because I made more mistakes faster than you have. That's it.
Absolutely.
Understand that the reason I got to teach this is because I've already made these mistakes. And if I ever say anything really smart that sounds like, holy shit, that guy really knows something, right, just know that I totally screwed it up 3 or 4 times, and then I finally did what my coach said. That's what it was. Like that, I just learned from like a mentor or a coach, and I finally did what they said, and I stopped making a mistake. So yeah, that's most of us have something to give, and not enough of us share that stuff.
Absolutely. And yeah, I think that the key is, don't try and be someone you're not. Don't try and present yourself as the expert when you're not, but more than happily present yourself as somebody who has some experience and like that part that's always fine. And there are times where I'll talk about ideas like marketing ideas. And I always want to be very clear and specify, is this an idea that I have that's untested? Or is this an idea that is this something that I've tested in the marketplace and I've seen work? Right. But yeah, you could share both, right? They're still both useful.
Yep, totally.
But so let's go ahead and continue into some of these other concepts and topics that we can get into. Where today do you think where do you see the biggest potential improvement for real estate agents? What's the thing that you think is holding them back, or what are some of the things? I'm the kind of person, I have a hard time picking my top sometimes, but
yeah, no, I mean, I think if I can like bring it down to like narrow it down, it's doing the basics. Most real estate agents will create distractions that stop them from doing what they should do. Like this business is very, very simple. I'm not saying it's not hard work. I'm just saying it's simple. It's like if you have one of these things right here, you have a phone, and you should be good to go, right? But we will do, as like when I say we, real estate agents as a breed, we will do whatever we have to do to avoid this thing, right? To avoid picking this up and making the phone calls. It's so funny. So it's not funny, but something I'll share with you. One of the guys that I'm so extremely honored to be in business with, Brady, in our Denver office, in our Cherry Creek office in Denver, had shared with me yesterday morning that he had challenged his team, our team there in Denver, to have 20 conversations a day.
Right.
Like 20 real estate conversations a day, which is a very basic number. You've seen that advertised, like it's been in bold and really a bunch like fairy tree. It's in a lot of other places, right? 20 conversations a day is nothing new under the sun. We didn't invent that number. We could have said 19 or we could have said 23. Doesn't matter. But it's very basic. However, it's really hard to do because you have to focus. Like you actually have to make an effort to do that and single in on whatever time you have allotted for that, 2 hours, 3 hours, 90 minutes, whatever that is, right?
Right.
But when you do that, the results that come from it are amazing. They can literally be amazing and change your life if you'll do it. It reminds me of, so I mentioned to you our Think Bigger conference, or you brought that up, and I mentioned that my buddy Dustin Runyon was our keynote speaker, and one of the things Dustin said was, hey, I want to share an opinion with you that maybe isn't as popular and maybe it's goes against what a lot of the other guys are teaching, because a lot of people are telling you guys to work harder and they're telling you to work more hours. And that's not, I don't believe the problem. I believe what the problem is, Dustin said, I believe the problem is you're not focusing enough and giving your all to the hours that you do have committed to your real estate business. So it's not about going from 40 to 60 hours a week or 40 to 50 hours, or some cases for some people it is about putting in a few more hours, going from 20 to 30. But for the hours that you are working, right, it's about what are you focusing on during that time? Are you actually doing your job, or are you looking for excuses to not pick up the phone?
Right.
And I think overall as a community of real estate agents, we will invent reasons to not do that. Like, I got to get more water. I got to go to the bathroom. I got to text Zach back. I got to comment on this Facebook post. I better go check on this. Oh, I better check tax records before I call Susie Q back just to make sure she didn't sell yet. Whatever. Like, we will just invent shit so we're not productive during that. And then, so we've allotted 3 hours. So we've allotted 3 hours, but we've spent 90% of that 3 hours doing everything but the tasks. So we've made 4 phone calls.
Right.
We wonder why we don't get the results. Like, to me, that's the number one thing in our industry.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It's actually, I put together a completely free course, and I'll tell people real quick how they can get it if they want it. If you drop a comment that says lead tips, again, on the original Facebook page, you can get access to this free course I put together. But essentially, one of the things that I talk about in real estate follow-up, and I think it's really relevant to this, is your first goal when you're calling somebody isn't to sell a house. It's not to get a listing. It's none of that. It's to get a relationship. It's to have a conversation. It's to find out what's going on with this person's, in this person's life, so that you can find out how to help them. Now, right now, that may be that you're like, maybe you're talking to a potential buyer. That may be that you're going to use, you're going to talk about how they can fix their credit, or you're going to get them in contact with a lender who can help them get through that stage of their life. It might be that literally all that they wanted, that you're just finding out that life is perfect and they're not looking to sell right now, but hey, maybe you can give them updates on what's going on in the market, right? Like it's just to establish that relationship. And I think that goes to your point. It's having these conversations that is really that's the line that you need to move is the conversations.
Yeah, and the other thing too that I would say, and like I see it with agents that I've worked with in the past, probably none of our current agents, and then agents I see in our brokerage, and it's like 2 things. Number one is we want to make things complex so that way we don't have to act right. Like, oh man, I was teaching a class recently, and somebody asked a question about like, well, what about this for my taxes or whatever? And it's like, why are you making this complex? Just do it. Like, stop creating complexity so you don't have to take action. Right. So we want to make stuff complex. Like, oh my God, should I use Cole Resource or should I use Mojo or should I use Vulcan 7? nobody cares. Just use something. Somebody is having success with all of it, right?
Right.
And so that's one thing is we make it complex when it doesn't have to be. And then number two is shiny object syndrome. So we actually had an agent who just left our team in one of our locations, and I won't say who this person is or what location, but I can remember this person's first week on the team, which, by the way, wasn't very long ago. And I predicted this day that they unfortunately probably wouldn't last a whole lot. Right. They wanted, so like farming is not something that Group 4610 does. It's just not. We're not committed to it. It takes a commitment. It takes a very strategic plan, and we are not. That's not in our wheelhouse. We don't do it.
Right.
And the other thing is, we're very thorough on what it is we do though. However,
right.
when it comes to referrals and it comes to internet leads, and our processes are super defined, super well thought out, and proven over thousands and thousands of transactions now. And this person started going, well, hey, I want to farm. Who's got tips on farming? And I'm like, you've been here for 7 days. Maybe go back to the training and do these other things that maybe we're already paying for and doing at a really high level. Right. But that's what, as agents, that's what we do is we start looking for things like, okay, like this month I'm going to farm because I heard farming is great. And then in 3 months when it doesn't pay off, we don't do it. So I'm going to go buy Boomtown leads. Kevin uses Boomtown. I know he loves Boomtown. I'm going to go buy their leads. Right. And then when that doesn't pay off in 3 months, I'm on to the next thing, and then on to the next thing, and then I'm going to cancel the expireds and blah, 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 blah. And they all suck. They don't work. I don't understand. I'm looking for the magic bullet. What people don't realize the magic bullet is, and I'm just saying this for the first time, this is really good. You should write this down if you're watching.
I'm writing this down.
The magic bullet is consistency over time. Or as Gary Keller would say, it's time on task over time. It's doing the same thing consistently for like a really long period of time. That's actually the magic bullet in real estate. Right. But it's not sexy, man. It's terrible. Like, it's extremely boring. Nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to do it. Makes you want to gouge your eyes out with a pen. But you know what it does do? Makes a lot of damn money. It makes a whole lot of money. But it's not sexy at all.
And it's super powerful. It's not even just in real estate. It's business. There's a book that's called The Obstacle is the Way. Have you read that one? It's by
I have not read that one. I have it on my list of about 7,000 other books to read. I do know the book. Real quick synopsis if anybody listening, that it's basically a modern story examples put together with Stoic philosophy, and the idea behind it is essentially it's very much there in the title, right? That very often we think of obstacles, as things that are preventing us from the path, right. But very often the obstacles are actually the thing that is exactly what you need to go through. You go through that, you harden yourself, and figuring out how to get through the obstacles, how to beat them, is where you find success. It's not this thing that you got to get around. It is the work. It is the part that is necessary in order to get where you want to go. Yeah, you got to sometimes. Yeah, you got to do it. Sometimes you got to go through the wilderness.
Yeah, and what's so amazing is that very, very often people get to that point of the obstacle. They get to that point of the difficulty, and that's where they turn. That's where they go away. And so they're always just on the other side of that potential success and the power that comes through that. It's such an amazing thing. And essentially it's consistency. It's doing it over time. It's getting through that grind past where it feels exciting because it's new.
Yeah, it's funny. A couple of years ago, we committed to that. We said we're going to do this, and it's made in a lot of ways. It's made business boring in a lot of ways. Like I showed you, if I grabbed my phone again, I showed you my calendar. Like it's very calendared. Right. All the meetings are reoccurring, and it's super boring. But it's also super. It's how it works. Right. And I realized I was living it when I told you I was doing an interview recently, and somebody's writing an article, and they titled it "The Long Game." Right. I realized, that is actually what I do. It's the long game. Right now I've been playing this long game for the last 2 years, and it's funny. We've been joking because there are so many good ideas, right? And I have some friends that are super successful. They do They don't just sell real estate. Maybe they invest. Maybe they've got other businesses too. And we would leave these meetings with our friends who are like crushing it. And we go, damn, in a couple of years, we're going to either look really smart or really stupid. I hope we look really smart. But right now, this is tough because I see that opportunity and I see the angle. I see the same angle that he or she sees. We're gonna stay committed to this one thing that we talked about staying committed to a few years ago. Yeah, and I don't think most of us don't want to do that. We just don't have the we're not wired to do it. It's not fun, and so that's why most people don't.
Yeah, we're constantly seeking after the dopamine rush that you get from doing something new.
Yes.
And you don't have that. You don't have that when you're doing something consistent. But
totally.
that's where the real success comes from. Let's show a couple of these comments that we've got coming in. I like Cindy captured one of the things that you said. I think it's perfect. If at first you don't succeed, try doing what your coach said.
So true.
It's so amazing. We are so often trying to find the answer to something as being something other than what was already told to us or what people are already having success with, and it's likely already in front of you. Chances are you have the tools in front of you that it'll take to succeed. You're just not doing it.
Yep, totally.
And then we got and you commented on this one too. We had Jason. Jason said, "Do the work." Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's no way around it. Like I know Jason here. He's local here in Phoenix. He's good. He's a buddy, and Jason's a really smart dude, and he knows like it's about doing the work, and actually you can't fake that. You cannot fake that.
Absolutely. And just a quick thank you, guys. I have a few of you here that hopped in and got the lead tips thing. So thank you for taking a chance with your time and your attention with me, and hopefully that delivers on all the promises that I made. So but yeah, okay. So let's talk a little bit about this. So just wrapping this part up real quick. We've got the stumbling over my words here, the issues that most agents face, the biggest obstacles that they're looking at, that make it complex when it doesn't need to be.
Yeah.
And they don't leverage the magic bullet, which is consistency over time.
Yes.
So
magic bullet, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, cool. And so let's dive in and let's talk about some of these these specific. Let's dive into the weeds a little bit. And let's talk about some of these methods that you mentioned. Group 4610 actually leverages really well, which is referrals and internet leads. So let's take referrals. What is a big part? Like, what's the high level look? How do you guys think of a referrals? What's your system for that?
Yeah, so for us, for referrals, it looks like a couple different things because that's it's funny. Our two biggest sources of business are both very wide-ranging buckets, right? So one of those is referrals, and for us, referrals looks like a couple different things. Referrals looks like obviously agent-to-agent referrals. So somebody in Vegas, they're moving to Phoenix. You say, hey, Kevin, my buddy, is moving to Phoenix. Can you help him out, or whatever? So agent-to-agent referrals, exactly what it sounds like. We've been able to do more than our fair share of those over the years. I think not just partially due to training, but mostly due to the trainings we've done, which has helped give us a platform and give us a face and name with a lot of folks around the country. So agent-to-agent referrals is one. Another bucket is obviously I'll call it like a referral company. So think of like Referral Exchange or Agent Pronto or I don't know, like the ELP program or something like that. Where there's a company and they're actually a brokerage, and really their whole business model is to provide leads and then sell them, if you will, to agents for referral fees instead of front end, upfront monthly payment. And so those are the other bucket of referrals. And then of course the last piece is actually referrals from our clients and our sphere of influence, our friends, our family members, things like that. So Fred and I have always worked very hard at staying in front of our sphere. We've always done a large number of sphere of influence deals, and past clients have become repeat clients and they've referred their friends, and that's something that we've focused on for years. And so for us, when I say referrals, that's what that looks like for our company, and we do quite a bit of business in that arena.
Awesome. So yeah, so let's talk a little bit about it. So you already tapped on the agent to agent. So you believe that a lot of your business agent to agent wise comes from the exposure that you've gained through doing trainings across the country, just giving back and basically making it so that when people think of a team in any of these markets that you potentially work in, right, that they think of you guys.
Yep.
So that, I mean, it's a really simple one. Like I don't want to gloss over it because it's powerful, but I think it's easy to understand, right? It's
it's not hard.
Yeah. Get out there, give value, go to other markets so that you get that exposure, and yeah, you'll start to see that come back to you. So that's, again, it's not sexy, but it's powerful. Okay, and so let's talk about the referral companies. I am familiar with some of these companies and a little bit about what goes into it. But what would you say? Because I'm familiar with a lot of agents who struggle to actually get much business from these referral companies, from these different things. Where are they lacking? What do you think is your secret sauce that makes that work for you?
That's a good question. I think, well, let me give you this example. So one of the biggest positives that have come from these things is I first got a Dave Ramsey ELP account back in 2010 or 11. I think it was 2010. My buddy Jeff Payne had referred me over to them and told Fred and I about them. We went and got an account, and they send your name to three different. They send when a client or a potential referral asks for a real estate agent, they get three names and numbers, right? And so you're instantly competing. And so one of the things we realized that the key was actually to be first, right? That was and believe it or not, for us at this time, that was like a big light bulb for us. We didn't realize that. And so that forced us to get more competitive and to get smarter about the way we handled our leads, which then we parlayed into, it used to be called Agent Machine. Now it's called
Referral Exchange.
We got an account with them in like 2012, end of 2012. Same thing. We were fast and good, and we followed up with them like no other. And because we had a high conversion rate, we still get a lot of leads. Like, it's just how it is, because we sell a lot of their houses still to this day. And then same thing. So then it was then Agent Pronto came out. So I got an account with Agent Pronto. That started being good. We were good about it. And so I think the thing is I guess the moral of my story is, when you get a little bit, do really good with it and then ask for more.
Right.
But you can't ask for more if you don't do really good with it.
Right.
That's the key, because if they're a company too. They're doing this for profit. They're not doing it to just feed you. They're doing it because they want a referral check in exchange, right? And so take what they give you, make them look good for doing that, and then ask for more. Yep. Make them look good again, and then ask for more. Make them look good again, and then ask for more. It's that simple.
Yeah, and it's super powerful too, because I mean that really is what it is. It's the same issues that people are running into with these companies are the same issues that plague the rest of their business.
Totally.
Right?
Oh, absolutely. Well, it's funny that took the Dave Ramsey thing that for us to realize that we're like, shit, we're slow on leads. Sorry, I say that on your show.
Fine with me.
that was the deal. That was the thing for us. We're like, oh man, we're slow. We got to get fast.
Right.
And then and then it helped the rest of our business. It was kind of cool how that worked.
So let's talk about that a little bit. What were some of the changes that you guys made to increase your speed to lead?
It's funny. So we found a way to automate text message alerts.
Right.
Before every lead company had an automated text message alert. And so when we really started beating the competition was we had a buddy set up an email address that would actually ping both of our phones at the same time with the text message.
Nice.
So that way, because otherwise you had to be sitting in front of your computer or your email to get the lead. And so this way we could do it automatically. We had a special alert on our phone. And so we started doing that. And then that helped us get faster. Being faster helped us convert more. And then, it's kind of a snowball from there. That was probably the number one thing that we did is we treated it like I got to drop everything and do this right now.
Right. Yeah.
For a while, and it paid off.
That makes tons of sense. And by the way, guys, anybody listening, this same, like, you'll see this sort of theme going through almost everything Kevin's talked about so far, which is, it isn't like some massive suite of really genius ideas. It's like one idea implemented effectively is the thing that made the difference, right? So when we talk about agent-to-agent referrals, it's not some massive strategy for agent-to-agent referrals. It's, I'm going to get out there and teach consistently, and the momentum that builds is going to be powerful. And then with these referral companies, it's the biggest thing that's moving the lever is talking to these people before somebody else does. So yeah. I'm gonna make that an important thing. And so, like, that's part of what's useful, just stepping back and thinking through some of what you're talking about here. Know that, like, sometimes, when chances are, if you're listening to, like, to somebody like me or Kevin talking about this kind of stuff, you may or may not be getting the exact answer that you need, because what Kevin just described is the reality. Everybody gets text notifications now for leads. If you don't have that set up, it's not just that you're like, not.
It's no longer good enough.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So you have to be looking at so if the important thing is speed to lead, you have to be looking, what are the ways that I can do this even fractionally better. Right. And figuring that kind of stuff out. And it may not be that you can learn that from somebody like, again, like Kevin or I, or any of the other people that'll teach you this stuff, not because we wouldn't share it with you, but because as soon as we have it to share, it's probably
too late. It's too late. That's called being innovative, right? Like, you've got to be on the forefront of it. I mean, I'll just tell you, like, one of the ways we stay ahead now, we've got a couple programmers on staff, and part of what they do is automate things to help us be faster and better with what we have. Like, you can't, like, the text thing is, like, it was cool. It gave us an advantage for like a year or two, and now it's everybody has it. And it's just what it is, right? And so how do you get faster than that? Like, what other trick can you do? So it's not necessarily that you should be looking to me, people should look to me or look to you for the answer. It's they should look to us for the question they should be asking.
Right.
Asking themselves that question, like, what could I do? Like, what could be my competitive advantage? I can remember Fred and I sitting down and going, how do we get there faster? Because we noticed when we got there first, we got the deal basically every time. So we said, how, and then we brought in somebody from the outside who was a tech guy who understood it better than we did. And he just goes, oh, well, why don't we just set up this little text message system? I can do that for you in a day, and you'll be good to go. I'm like, yeah, let's try that out. That seems like it would work. So, and then it did work. So, yeah, it's sometimes it's not about finding the silver bullet, if you will, to use that again, of what you should be doing, but maybe it's about finding the question you should be asking.
Right. And by this time, I mean, when it comes to these leads, it's not like, correct me if I'm wrong. It's not like you weren't already working them. You had done enough work to get enough data to say, this is where we actually need to make an improvement. This is the problem. And so that's the mistake that a lot of people make, which kind of goes back to our original thing. They're getting distracted before they've even figured out what the problem is. They're trying to find a solution to a problem that doesn't exist for them yet.
Yes.
So keep that in mind. If you haven't actually picked up the phone and tried calling these leads and figured out which ones are turning into results and which ones aren't, you probably don't have enough data. Yeah, exactly. So again, pulling some of these points here. So doing enough work to get the data to actually be able to make some of these decisions, figure out where some of these problems are. That's an important aspect. We've already covered that. Being innovative and actually trying to find your own solutions to the problems that you're encountering is so powerful in some of these things. Not relying on the solution being handed to you, because it won't be as powerful as soon as that's the case. Okay, cool. So yeah, I think, and then going back again to these referral companies, part of what you were talking about is it really is. It's like this thing that builds momentum. You give them, when you get those first few in, you hit them hard, you do a really great job with them, and then you grow that. You use that momentum to get more, to ask for more, to grow that side of that business, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. And for anybody listening who isn't familiar with some of these companies that you can be reaching out to, we already mentioned a few of them. But Dave Ramsey has that ELP program. There's a Referral Exchange, which is actually it's a paid thing that you can become a part of. There's Movoto, there's Agent Pronto. And chances are you could even potentially find some other even like local sorts of things where people would happily refer you business if you do a good job with it. So lots of good options there. Okay, cool. And so let's talk a little bit about, so we've covered agent, we've covered these referral companies. Let's talk a little bit about SOI and past clients. What do you do anything specifically, strategically, intentionally to get more business from these people?
Yeah, not enough, to be honest with you. Like, it's something I've really been thinking about a lot lately. I feel like we could do more.
Right.
However, what we do, and we do well. When I say well, I just mean consistent. We've done it for almost 5 years now.
Right.
Is we this can sound really stupid. We send newsletters, and we send just listed just sold emails. So I know that sounds really dumb, but like the reality was up until 2013, what happened is those would go out like 7 or 8 times a year instead of 12 times a year. Right. And so we just got really consistent with it, and it happens automatically now. But then here's what we really started doing is we started doing client appreciation events. And so here's what I know, and I think anybody watching this would agree, that if you called your database and you called your clients and you spoke to them, it could help your business grow. Like, they might have referrals for you, right? Or they might want to do business with you again themselves. And so I think we can all agree that's a universal principle. I think we can also agree most of us don't like doing that. And, for whatever reason, I know. So, like, for me, when Fred and I decided we were going to bring that into our business, one of the things that we decided is we'd call 3 or 4 times a year. We'd ask for referrals. But we had never done that before. So the first thing I had to do was call and apologize for never calling them again since I closed their deal. That was a very easy phone call to make. The hard call was the second call when I didn't have anything else to talk about.
Right.
So I was talking to my coach, and he said, well, you just need a reason to call them. That's all.
Right.
So invent a reason to call them.
Right.
So we said, okay, what can we do? We said, well, what if we did something? What if we gave something away? Right. And so then, we heard of like Russell Rhodes in Dallas did the pie giveaway every year, right? So we were like, what if we did that?
Right.
And so 2013, we decided we were going to give away pies the week of Thanksgiving, and we did.
Right.
And then we decided we were going to do a couple other things the following year, and we did. And so then we've fallen into this groove. We got this groove now where we have a couple of client appreciation events every year.
Right.
And so when we call, we're actually calling with something of value. Like because what I hated this call. Hey, Zach, it's Kevin with Group 4610. This is a business call. Who do you know that's looking to buy or sell real estate in the next 30 days?
Right.
Anybody who knows me knows that that's not me. Like I'm not doing that. I don't feel comfortable doing that. It's not natural for me. It's not authentic.
Right.
And so I didn't want to do that. So I had to create a reason to call you. And so my reason was like, hey, Zach, I appreciate you helping us grow our business by being a client. And I just wanted to say thank you. Could we buy you and your family like a pumpkin or an apple pie for Thanksgiving this year? We'll take your order. We're going to go buy a bunch of pies and come down to the office the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, pick it up, and love to shake your hand again. It's been a while since I've seen you. And good to go. And you'd be surprised how many people drive across town for like a $6 pie.
Right.
But they will, because it's the thought, like it truly is the thought that counts. They're like, this guy's calling me to give me something. He's not asking me for something. And then what does that do? That leads to referrals. It leads to you being top of their mind. That's how our business grows.
Yeah, absolutely. And on that same note, I actually, it may have been my first Facebook Live. I brought on a gentleman who's up in the Salt Lake area, Chris Bowen. Do you happen to know Chris by any chance?
I don't know, Chris. No.
Okay. Anyway, he's doing some really cool stuff up there, all along these same lines. It would actually, anybody watching, if you like what Kevin's talking about with this idea of these events and client appreciation events and having these really good opportunities to call up your past clients in SOI, that episode had some really good information in it. And again, it was like the first one. I'll try and remember to drop a link in the comments or whatnot so you guys can check it out if you're interested. But he talks about some really cool ideas. He does like, the Star Wars premiere, when that came out, he rented out a theater, and like not the whole theater, but like rented out a room in the theater and then invites everybody to that.
Yeah, we've done a few movie days like that as well. We've done baseball games.
Yeah.
We've given away Girl Scout cookies. Right. We've done we do pictures with Santa as well, which goes over super well. So I mean, it's pretty cool. It's not that hard to be creative.
Absolutely,
come up with something that provides value to your clients.
Yeah, and it really is. I think that's the important note of what you just described too, is that you at any given point you're going to have a certain percentage of the people who actually come, right? Who pick up the pie, who come to the event, who come and watch your movie, your movie premiere, your movie showing. But having that opportunity to call these people and invite them is the power. Yeah, that's where the magic is. So don't like I've actually, I've worked with a couple of teams and I've seen them make this mistake where they were judging the success of this strategy based on like how many people came to the thing. And that's not that's not
it. The thing is, you get credit with everybody, whether they show up or not. They know you invited them.
Yeah, you invited them, you offered them the pie, you gave them the opportunity. You were the one who thought of them and reached out. So keep that in mind. The power is, sure, you got to do the event, you got to have that, but the real power is having that opportunity to talk to them in an authentic way. Yeah, totally. Super powerful, super powerful. Cool. Okay, so we've got some really good information. We covered agent to agent, we covered referral companies, we covered SOI. Some really great strategies there. Let's talk a little bit. We still got a little bit of time, right? Like here. Well, we don't got much time, so we might have to go into kind of my quick fire round real quick. So guys,
rapid fire mode. I'm ready for you.
So guys, anybody who's watching, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you just want to let Kevin know how much you appreciate him sharing so fully, so authentically on this show with us, feel free, drop a comment below this video and let us know that.
And if you want any tips on having great hair, Zach's your guy. He can I obviously cannot. So that's covered there.
If you have questions on hair, I am more than happy to answer questions. I will give you some ridiculous answer. But if you guys have any questions as well, I'm going to start asking Kevin just some really top level, just good questions to get some good answers, but they're short and quick. If you have any questions that you'd like us to ask as well, feel free to drop those below, and we will ask those as well. But I'll just go ahead and start into this. And Kevin, you remind me, you got to get going pretty quick here, right? We got to be off by like what? I forget.
Let me see. I'm checking my calendar right now.
There we go, guys. Just like he was talking about before.
I've got exactly 15 minutes to go.
Okay, so we got 15 minutes. Let's make good use of them. Okay, so again, guys, drop any questions below, but I'll go ahead and get started. So, okay, what are some of your favorite tools? So like day to day, whether it's Post-it notes,
Boomtown.
Okay,
I'm a Boomtown guy. I love it. I'm a paid sponsor. No, just like everybody is, you can get a referral fee if you refer somebody to it. So it's just a joke. I like to take shots on my friends over sync. So at any rate, I'm a huge Boomtown guy. That is probably my favorite tool, if you will, that we use on a day-to-day basis.
Sweet. And so Boomtown, for anybody who doesn't know what it is, if you're not familiar, it's a combination of tools. It's a CRM, it's an IDX, it's a website. It's a way for you to process leads. It's a way for you to generate leads, and it's got some really cool technology that is kind of an all-in-one package to really work real estate leads. So if you're familiar, like there are some other competitor platforms. So if you're familiar with some of these, it might give you that where it fits into the world. It's similar to like a Conversion or a Commissions Inc. or some of these other platforms that do similar things.
It's just like those others that you named, just better. But it's just like that. Sorry, I didn't mean to make you some water.
Tried to breathe some water. But yeah, so it's a really cool platform for some of that stuff. So if you're potentially looking for a CRM, or if you're looking for an IDX, or if you're looking for a way to effectively process leads, that's kind of where Boomtown fits in.
I'm not pulling this up to like answer my text messages. I've got like a little folder on my phone with some of the other cool things that I really like since we're talking.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so, yeah, absolutely.
One of the things I really love too is I really like slide broadcast. Sorry, I'm looking at the app and I can't even say it. So there's two things. There's slide dial and slide broadcast, which has been around forever. My buddy Ben Kinney told me about it years and years, like 6 years ago, 7 years ago. But it's funny, we started using slide broadcast because of our client appreciation events. Because after we called them and we took all the orders, we wanted to send out confirmation voicemails. So it's like you can upload a spreadsheet with, hundreds or thousands of phone numbers and record a voicemail and drop it like that. So we use that. I love the Boomtown app. Ring Central is what we use for our phone system.
Okay.
We've got some internal stuff that we've built that I love. That I can't really talk about it only because I don't have the ability to share it. Mojo. We use the Mojo dialer, which I love. It's integrated within Boomtown, so I love that. So all of our Boomtown leads can just go right over to Mojo, and then that data can go right back to Boomtown. One of the things that we use, we like Upwork or Fiverr for stuff that we need. We need something done on the fly, on the side. That could be anything from like work to whatever. If I could, Fidelity Title has got something called their app, and if you use one of the other brands like Chicago Title or Lawyers or something, it's whatever, same thing. So they got like the Fidelity Agent app where you can create like net sheets on the fly, which is something I always did with my listing consultations. I always had net sheets prepared at different sales prices. What else here? Eventbrite for selling tickets and stuff. So those are some of the different apps and stuff that we use or tools that we use technology-wise in our company.
Sweet. Yeah, and so slide broadcast, if anybody missed this concept, it goes straight to voicemail. So instead of doing like a mass call, you upload a file, it basically just drops it straight to voicemail. So the phone doesn't even ring. They just get a notification that they have a voicemail. So it's super powerful. Like if you want to do like circle prospecting around an open house, it could work well for that. It's useful for these like client appreciation event sort of things. But anytime where you just kind of want to get the message out there and drop it on the voicemail, that's where it makes sense. Do be careful, do it correctly, and don't be annoying with it because some people are very much misusing the technology. But there's some really cool ways to use it effectively.
Totally.
Ring Central is going to be most advantageous for anybody who wants to have like the appearance of a bigger company, even if you are a distributed team, or if maybe you have a team that kind of works from home, that kind of thing. That Ring Central is a really good place for that. You could have a number system with a phone tree and all that kind of stuff in it, forward numbers wherever they need to go. Super cool system. One thing I want to talk about too is looking for things like this. So Boomtown and Mojo Dialer, they integrate well. So that's part of why they're so cool together is, if you have to choose between any other dialer, but you're on Boomtown, Mojo just makes so much sense.
It makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, because of that. So in the same way, if you happen to be using another system, Mojo may or may not be what you need. Check out what maybe integrates with the system you already got, or if you're looking to switch, there's some good options there. Upwork and Fiverr, they're both places where you can get outsourced work. Upwork is going to be more of like you actually hire a specific person. Fiverr is a little bit more productized, where it's like I want a logo or I need XYZ done. You can go and find the person who does that specific thing. It's cool. Love the different tool ideas. Okay, so so who are some of the people that have influenced you? Who are some of the people that you kind of look to as heroes or influencers who kind of you look to today?
There's no doubt Gary Keller's been the biggest influence in my life, business wise.
Right.
business and a lot of personal stuff as well. So I look to him. I'm really fortunate I get to spend some time with him in different groups and whatnot. Some of my friends, honestly, just some of my friends I've made in the industry that are, Ben Kinney is someone that comes to mind. He's a friend / mentor in a lot of ways. My buddy Cody Gibson, good dude. He's, we try to help each other a lot. I'm a big, I'm like a big podcast guy. I read a lot. I listen a lot. That was a lie. I don't really read a lot. I listen a lot to
fair enough.
Audiobooks. So Tim Ferriss comes to mind. And the thing I like about Tim Ferriss, it's easy to dismiss him if you don't like his style. The thing that he does is, number one, he only talks to the best of the best at whatever it is they do, right? So whether it's an athlete or somebody in business or somebody in the arts or whatever, he's only talking to the people that are the best. But the information that he's actually gotten so good at interviewing people that
he's
the
fantastic.
They drags out of them is phenomenal. And so I listen to his podcast. That's my number one go-to podcast for sure. That I look to is Tim Ferriss. So that's I would say those are some of my bigger influences right now.
Cool. Yeah, and anybody who hasn't already, the Tim Ferriss podcast, it's completely free. You can check it out, listen to it for free. There's probably going to be, he tends to do his content this way, where it's going to be a little bit hit or miss for whether you're completely interested in what he's talking about.
Or completely disinterested, yeah.
Yeah, and he does that on purpose. His goal is like any piece of content that he does. He's got one group that he's like, they're going to love it. Some people may get value in it, but he's not trying to please everybody with everything.
He knows, he's got 1 million subscribers, right? He had Ray Dalio on earlier this week, and he knows that that's only going to apply to 250,000 or 25% of his audience. But that 25%, they're going to dial in and absolutely eat that up. And he's aware of that. And he's masterful at that. He's truly become a master of that, getting content and good information out.
Yeah. So some of my favorite episodes. Anybody who's going to look through the backlogs. His episode with Arnold Schwarzenegger was great. His episode with Jamie Foxx was fantastic. Noah Kagan. I always love it when he and Noah Kagan talk. They're friends, but they always talk some good business principles.
I'm trying to look up my ones with him. He's got some really he's had Tony Robbins on a few times.
Tony Robbins. Yeah. Derek Shivers. That's he's had him on a couple of times. Those are some really good episodes. But
Cory Booker, who is he's actually a politician. Caroline Paul, she's awesome. She's just a badass. Just know that. Dom D'Agostino, who is a professor and research doctor, who's basically the foremost expert on ketogenic diet and all the benefits of that. Rick Rubin, I don't know if you listened to that episode. That's one of my favorite ones ever.
That one was fantastic too.
Ramit Sethi was a great episode. He was on a couple times. And actually, one of my favorite is a guy named Adam Robinson, who is not famous at all unless you listen to Tim Ferriss. It's funny, and I follow him. He got him to follow me back on Twitter. He's a really quirky dude, but he's literally a genius. Right. And that was maybe he did a couple episodes. He did one with Ramit Sethi and Josh Waitskin, the chess player.
Okay, right.
But he also did a solo one, and it blew my mind. That is one of the most interesting people on the planet I've ever heard from. So he's one of mine. So yeah. Cool.
So anybody listening to this, anybody watching, you've got some good episodes to check out to hit some of the top line stuff. Apparently, my Do Not Disturb did not work correctly because I'm ringing all over the place. Okay, cool. So let's talk real quick. What are some books? I still got some time, right? I'm double checking the time.
Favorite books. Let me give you some.
And by the way, I'm completely with you. if you've got time in a car that you're driving around, listening to podcasts or listening to audiobooks is a great way to make good use of that time. So yeah, I'm the same way. There's some books that I've read, there's some books that I've listened to, but either way, you're consuming the content and it's great.
Absolutely. So some of my favorite books over the last year or two, number one is Bold by Peter Diamandis.
Okay.
It's probably my favorite book that I've read in a really long time. Another one called Exponential Organizations.
Okay.
The Elon Musk book by Ashley Vance. It was great.
Cool.
One of my favorite books ever, and I just reread it every couple of years, is Moneyball.
Okay, cool.
Great story, but it's a really great business book.
Right.
Influence by Robert Cialdini.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody really knows how to say his name.
Yeah.
That's a really good one. Anything by Robert Cialdini is really good. He's got some powerful information about like the psychology of persuasion. Yeah,
so there's a great book on hiring called Who. It's called The Who, A Method of Hiring by Jeff Smart and Randy Street.
Right.
And then another book, my buddy Reed Moore introduced me to this. It's called Change Your Questions, Change Your Life. And that is absolutely one of the most impactful books I've read in a long time.
Right.
And then probably my last one that's worth mentioning, another biography is called, it's by T. Boone Pickens. It's an autobiography called The First Billion is the Hardest. And it's one of the funnest biographies I think I've ever read or listened to in my life.
Nice. First Billion is the hardest. Awesome. Yeah, that's I always love getting other people's book recommendations. Just because who was it that said it? Is it Zig Ziglar? I don't remember. But the idea that you will be the same person you are today aside from the people you associate with and the books that you read. And and so it's always nice to hear how other people are growing and expanding and looking to potentially change and better themselves in the future. And books are a great way to do that. Awesome.
Absolutely.
Cool. So one of the last questions that I always like to mention, if say people watching this, say for whatever reason they missed everything else, they've forgotten everything, but now we have the opportunity. If we could give people the top 3 takeaways, the top 3 things that you'd want them to take away from this episode as a result of having listened, or just in general, what would be your top 3 things that you'd want somebody to walk away from this, this interview or just you in general with?
I just thought of Gary Vaynerchuk says it in a very different way than I say it, but he says, stop focusing on dumb shit. Like dumb shit, meaning all of the activities that are everything except for this little thing right here, right? Everything but this. Like stop focusing on everything else. Like you don't have to do everything. Just do one thing, but do it consistently. Do it really good. It's like I told you, the magic, the magic or the hot sauce, if you will, is really in doing it for a long period of time. It's being consistent for a long period of time. And when you do that, all of a sudden stuff looks easy. It feels easy. You get the results that you wanted. It's funny. I watch it with agents in our company. They come on and it's the first year that's hard. And once they get through the first year, year 2 tends to get pretty easy for them if they've done their job in the first year. Because what happens is, I always like to say, deals start falling out of the sky because now they've got a database of leads that are a year old, and those deals become easy, right? And so it's about, you got to stay consistent, you got to stay committed, quit focusing on different things. You can't just try something for 90 days. It's not how real estate works. Right. You got to stay committed for a long period of time. So stop focusing on everything else. Actually, people would just do that. That'd be more than enough. I wouldn't have to think of 2 other things.
Honestly, if you want to stop there, that's fine with me. That's one of the things that I think is powerful. Sometimes it is. It's important to know what the underlying important things are, and just focusing on what is actually important and not focusing on the stupid distractions are that's going to be game changer for anybody who actually applies it.
Absolutely, totally agree.
Absolutely. Okay. So last thing, before you hop off, where should people connect with you? Where should they send all the referral business? Where are these places that people can reach out to you?
So number one is I'd love to connect with you on Instagram, which is just instagram.com/Kevin Kauffman. On Facebook as well, Kevin Kauffman, KAUFFMAN. And then if I could, I'll put it in the comments too.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
You and I connected to our Facebook group, Real Estate Agents Who Want Real Results, which really was just an idea that Fred and my business partner and I and Cody Gibson had. We always talked about how like there's all these groups out there, and I'm certainly not going to talk bad about any of them, but like a lot of them lack substance and they lack substance, I guess is really the best word. And so we just decided what would it be like if we created a group. So one Saturday morning, I literally just created a group, added Fred and Cody, and said, let's see what happens. And then so that was last October. So coming up on a year, and we're at just over 18,000 members. And because I'm not really creative, and I literally just did it on a Friday morning or a Saturday morning, excuse me, the name is really terrible. It's really called Real Estate Agents Want Real Results. And I thought of that because I was like thinking of I get so tired of the people who don't who are gurus and don't really actually do anything in our industry. They talk about it. And so Real Estate Agents That Want Real Results Facebook group. I just put a link there in the comments. The cool thing about that is it's not cool that me and Fred and Cody are there. The cool thing is that our friends are there, like you're there. And if somebody else who needs an answer to something or wants to have a conversation, like high level, like I saw Jay Kinder was posting in there earlier today. They're like Ben Kenny's commented and posting there. Read more. Like a lot of people come in there and like there's some really good conversations. And that was our whole point was let's just make this really, really valuable to the industry and see what happens. And so it's been fun.
Yeah, and guys, I will definitely piggyback on exactly that. That group is fantastic. There are a lot of Facebook groups out there that there's just no value, no reason to even join. They're just a waste of your time. This is not one of them. There's a ton of value in there. There's some great people really giving away more value than anybody is trying to take in return. So yeah, definitely check that out. All of these links that Kevin mentioned, I will be updating this Facebook post to make sure that you guys have direct links for easy access to as well. So do check back if pretty quickly after this live part is done, the post itself should have those links as well. But yeah, so thank you again so much, Kevin, for coming on. Cindy as well just said, great job, guys. Thank you so much. So we got some live ones in here. And by the way, Jennifer had also said so easy to lose focus on your one thing. So we've got some good people getting some good results on here. And yeah. So anyway, thanks again, Kevin. Thanks so much for coming on. Some fantastic value that you brought us. I'm gonna go ahead and let you get going. I know you've got to hop off, but thanks again.
Thanks, man. Have a good one. We'll talk to you soon, Zach.
All right. Talk to you later.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye. And real quick, anybody else that's still here, that's still watching as we wrap up here, if you didn't already and you are interested, one of the things that I've put together just completely free for you, you can get my course, The Ultimate Lead Machine, completely free, just as a thank you for coming in, being here, watching with us. All you got to do is drop a comment that says lead tips, and you can get access to that. The Ultimate Lead Machine, the basic idea of what it's about is that there's a lot of training, a lot of information about how to generate leads, how to get people kind of into that top end of your funnel. The Ultimate Lead Machine is about kind of what happens after. What do you do when you can't get somebody on the phone? What do you do when you can get somebody on the phone, but maybe they're not ready to sell right now? It's kind of that overarching idea of how do you process leads once you've generated them. So that's what that's about. It's completely free. All you got to do is drop a comment below this video that says lead tips. That'll work whether you're watching live or even if you're watching this as a replay. So you can go ahead and do that. And again, if you guys want to make sure that you see these episodes live, that you're able to get in, get your questions answered, interact live with our awesome people that we're bringing on, like Kevin. then you want to make sure to get on our notification list. All you got to do is drop a comment that says notify, and we will reach out to you and let you know how you can get on our notification list, so that as we're going live with these Facebook Lives, you're able to come in and watch them and engage live with us as well. We tend to do these right now. Our schedule is Tuesday and Thursday at 2 p.m. Pacific. You will always be able to catch the replays, and every once in a while we do them at a different time if our expert guest is not able to present at that time for whatever. But if you want to make sure that you don't miss them, you want to get on that notification list, all you got to do is drop a comment below this video that says notify, and we'll reach out to you and let you know how you can get on that list. So thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for listening to us, for engaging with us. We had some good interaction here today on this Facebook Live. You guys don't know how grateful I am that you actually take some time and come and listen to myself, to our expert guests like Kevin, and take some time to not only grow your business, to learn more about your business, but you put a bit of faith and trust in us to be able to help you in that process. So thank you for coming. Thank you for listening for a bit, and I hope I will see you on the next episode.
Thanks for tuning in to the Real Estate Growth Hacker Show. Remember, done is better than perfect. To turn the marketing ideas and tactics you just learned into real growth for your real estate business, visit us at realestategrowthhackers.com. If you like this episode, consider sharing it with another real estate professional who could benefit from the information, or maybe you'd like to subscribe to the show to never miss an episode. You can leave a rating or review on iTunes with your biggest takeaway, helping this show to reach and help more people just like you. Thanks again, and we'll see you on the next episode.